Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mentor Podcast. That good-looking guy beside me there, his name is Dean Rogers, an ex-NFL player, now a superstar in real estate, and went from NFL to nothing to really building a huge empire right now. So, Dean, how are you and where are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm right here in La Jolla, California, down in the San Diego area. Enjoying life, chasing kids around, working on the business. So
love San Diego. I just wish they'd move it out of California.
You're telling me. I know. They make it hard to want to stay here, I'll tell you that.
I can understand that. All right. Well, listen, you got quite a story. I'm going to let you tell the story, and then I'm going to rudely interrupt along the way. So, first of all, you came from the NFL, and then you got out of the NFL. Where and when did that happen?
Yeah. So going back to 2011, 2012, that's when I played. And, growing up, I was the sports guy. I always wanted to play sports and filled it out when I was a kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? Professional athlete, and grew up in Central California. There wasn't much to do there besides go to school, go to church, and play sports. And so, had these big hopes and dreams, but like I was in a small town. I didn't really see the big Hollywood stuff, and it was all just stuff you saw on TV. So, is it just a dream? I don't know, but loved sports and naturally excelled at them and took off and did well through high school, got, teams looking at me in college, and went to college, played football there, and, excelled and did well, had NFL scouts looking at me. So just kind of went through the journey and always one of the things I like to say, especially when I'm talking to, a broad audience of people, is obviously to make it to the NFL is hard, and it's the 1% of the 1%. So there's something kind of a miracle that has to happen. But I like to say that it wasn't because I was the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the best athlete on the field. It was just because of the fact I was disciplined and consistent and put in the work, which ultimately, transitioned into kind of my next career. But Ron, I got stories for days about what that life was like in the NFL.
Who'd you play for?
So it was for the San Diego Chargers. That's what brought me back down here. And so I was playing great, feeling great. Norv Turner telling me I'm going to have a long career. I mean, like it was a dream come true. Right. And here I have like everything that I could hope and dream of in my hands, at my fingertips. And, the whole experience was, kind of like you see in some of the movies where everywhere you go is kind of a Hollywood experience, red carpet, amazing experiences and opportunities. And, the funny stories of, supermodels just throwing themselves at people. And, it was kind of a wild ride. And, but what happened to me, Ron, part of my story, the short version of it is, had all these things going my way and was feeling great, but Norv Turner switched me from tight end, which I was playing in college, to fullback. And, you probably know about football, and anyone else listening that knows about football, at fullback, you're pretty much a crash test dummy. You're running instead of like tight end on a running play, and the guy is, a couple of yards away from you and you're blocking them. You're now running 10 to 15 yards, not feet, but yards, full speed, as fast as you can, trying to kill the other person. And usually it's through a narrow gap between big giant linemen. And the best way to run through is to run through like a spear or a tornado, just head first. And that quickly was for the first time in my entire career when I actually had to go back after practice and ice my head. And, there's more to the story about how ESPN was talking about concussions, and Junior Seau killed himself that year. And, I'd started seeing old vets walking around, and some of them were, in rough shape, and they were in their 40s and 50s and, hardly functioning. And it just scared the living hell out of me to the point where I knew this is everything I want. But this one thing that almost was seemingly out of my control, because the rest of my body felt good. But this one thing about hitting my head against someone else full speed for a living that just didn't feel right. And I had this gut feeling that just knew I had to walk away from the game. So
you bowed out of the game?
So I bowed out, man. I had to, and it's hard to do that when you got Norv Turner, who's seen a lot of players telling you you're going to have a long career and you're playing and feeling good, to just say, you know what, I'm going to move on to the next thing. And that's what I did. I had one of my good college buddies reach out to me right away, tell me, hey, I know you're done playing football. I got a great opportunity for you. Why don't you come meet this tech company out of San Francisco? They're about to go public. Let me walk you in the door. So imagine this, Ron. You got a 7-figure contract. You got this awesome lifestyle, great opportunity. And I'm already married at the time, so I'm staying away from the temptation type of stuff. But everything else is, amazing. And then you walk away from it and go to a $65,000 salary. It's a bit of a switch. It's a bit of a change.
Imagine.
And for me, like I said, like you mentioned in the beginning, I pretty much had to start all over. Now, I had a great friend who gave me a great opportunity, got me in the door. But after busting my butt for a year in this corporate job, which kind of funny enough, I thought was so easy. Like all I had to do was sit at a desk and, type on this keyboard. And like this is about the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. Well, after that year of working my tail off, they end up telling me, great work. We're going to increase your salary to $67,000. And I about had a bowel movement right there, and thought to myself,
how did you get into real estate?
That's how I got into real estate.
So what does that mean? How did you begin?
So that moment right there, when they told me, hey, you get a big pay increase of $2,000, I said, this is not going to work for me. I want to get back to creating that lifestyle that of abundance and providing for my family and living the life I want to live. So I got on Google and typed how to get started in real estate, because I just remember watching late night Dean Graziosi TV shows and remembering that got some feelings going inside of me. So I got to look more into that. And so I found Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom podcast and just listened to one episode and was like obsessed, insanely obsessed, to the point where that's all I did, right? And in between work and at lunch and to and from work, I'd be listening to this podcast, and even waking up in the middle of the night just to re-listen how to fill out the contract, stuff like that, because I just wanted to get it. And actually did my first deal within 3 months from the first time I did that Google search. And it was actually co-wholesaling a deal with Sean Terry to make it more interesting. So just followed exactly what he did, took action, and there I was. I got proof of concept, did my first deal, and just started working my butt off from there.
So where are you at today, Dean?
So where I'm at today, along the journey, I've been in the business 9 years now. And throughout the journey, I had at least 2 big setbacks. After the first year of doing some wholesaling and now just getting into flips with my new business partner, who is now my business partner today, we jumped into some flips. He was the experienced investor. I was the new one. We jumped into some flips outside of his area of expertise and lost a bunch of money, lost $100,000. That was a setback. Then I had to crawl out of that hole and work my butt off. And then I had another setback. Someone took advantage of me, believing that everything they said was correct, which I got to blame myself for not doing more due diligence. But it was someone who clearly was had ill intent. Lost $187,000 on that one deal. right? That
What
was
kind of
another.
deals are you talking about? You talking about fixer uppers and fix them and flip them?
Yeah. So the first setback was we bought 6 flips right away,
Mm-hmm.
actually in Phoenix. And I'm from California. I had just started marketing in Central California after doing a couple deals with Sean Terry, and was wholesaling to an investor. And he's like, "Hey, you're good at finding deals. Let's do flips. It's slowing down here. What about Phoenix? You're doing deals there, right? Yeah, let's go there." So, we get a realtor, help us run comps and make sure we're doing our due diligence. Well, they had horrible comps. They weren't, apples to apples, and bad contractors.
So they didn't either know how to do the homework, or they just didn't do the homework.
Yeah, we should have and could have done more due diligence. And then the last,
Yeah, they call that training, Dean.
yeah, that was me going back to school.
You just paid a very large price, much bigger than the real training actually costs. So
exactly.
You got to pay for that training one way or another, don't you?
One way or another, you got to learn it. And
welcome to the club. All right, so where are you at now? What's going on right now?
So right now, Ron, we're humping and pumping through deals. We're doing 100+ deals a year. Last year we did 108.
Define a deal.
That's wholesale deals.
Okay.
That's fix and flips and buying rentals.
All right. What's your average profit on a wholesale?
$20,000.
20. Okay.
20.
And where do you wholesale houses? What state?
California, Central California.
Southern California. Okay.
Central.
So you're finding junkers in Southern California and
Central California.
Central California.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You do a little over 100 of those, and then you are keeping some of them.
Yeah. Started buying and keeping in 2018, and we got 60 now.
60 houses?
Yeah.
The houses. So you got 60 tenants in houses.
Yep.
And you're still doing 100 wholesale deals. How many are you rehabbing right now?
Right now, we usually have about 5 going at a time. So that'll translate to about 15 or so a year. We try to do the lipstick real easy ones, because we used to do 20 flips at a time and be just churning through those. And we realized we were creating the law of diminishing returns, where we weren't good at doing too many. Let's just do the simple, easy ones, and the rest will wholesale because we're good at finding deals.
Okay, so we got to redefine now. A flip is I'm going to fix it and I'm going to sell it. All right, that's the way you define it. All right, most people define a flip, you just flip the house any way you can sell it. I buy them and lease option them to tenant buyers. People call that a flip, but it's not. I still own the house, even though I put a tenant buyer in it. So you have built quite an empire there in such a short time. So tell me, you started, you didn't have any experience. You took some hits. So how long did it take you to actually figure out what works and get it going?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say it was probably about 3 or 4 years until I really hit my stride. Because from the beginning, I learned marketing. That's the part I learned from Sean Terry. And I'd say I'd figured out how to market to find deals, but there's obviously the whole side of creating the business of it. And so to get the business side of it and really get a consistent conveyor belt of deals between just my partner and I together, it took every bit of 3 to 4 years, especially with that first setback.
Did you ever go and get trained by anyone?
Yeah. So after that first year of getting in, I joined Fortune Builders. And it was, great program of learning how to fix and flip, of doing those single family homes. And the community was the thing that still continues to this day to just pay dividends and open up new opportunities. And that's probably the biggest value from it, for sure.
So you got trained to fix and flip.
Got trained to fix and flip. And then over the years, I've been joining some other programs here and there. Most recent one is joining Family Mastermind, right? Which you and I are in. And I just know without a doubt that in itself is opening new doors, new relationships, new opportunities.
Certainly is. And so for our listeners, that's a group of real estate investors that are very active, that all get together, swap stories, tell each other lies, and find resources to grow. and it's a really great group. So better write that down. Family Mastermind. When you get serious about the business, you're probably going to want to be a part of that group as well. What it is a group that connects people. That's what it is, and great at that. And that's how we got together, and that's how we met each other.
That's right.
So, all right, I've done a lot of podcasts with the people in the Family Mastermind. So tell me, when you wholesale houses, do you find them online?
Some of them are online. Some are through either paid online advertisement,
Google and Facebook.
Google and Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we do both of those. We pretty much do everything, Ron. We do cold calling. We do, which we hire a third-party company to do. Yep. We don't do it in-house. We do direct mail. We do Facebook ads. We do PPC, and we do TV ads.
Okay. You do a lot. Mm-hmm. So, but you didn't start by doing a lot.
Definitely not.
Okay. So you grew, how much you spend a month on advertising? All in?
I'd say about $30,000.
That ain't nothing compared to your income.
Yeah.
And it's a lesson. That's a lesson that most people really have struggled a hard time to do. You didn't start spending 30 grand, but on the other hand, you're spending 30 grand and you're bringing in 7 figures a month. You're bringing in 7 figures a month.
Not a month. No, we do multiple 7 figures a year, but we'll do, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in a month.
Okay. So you're getting 10 times more than you're spending.
Yeah.
And so who wouldn't spend 10% of their gross income to get the gross income?
Right.
I struggle. I have to pound that into people. They think everything's free. Yeah, it's free, all right, but you get what you pay for. You got to get people. The whole key is you're getting people to call you, which we call quality leads.
That's
not
powerful.
Chasing people who advertise online, which are just quantity leads. We do both, but the quality leads by far the best. But you got to pay for most of them. So be it. When you started actually spending money to advertise, how much were you spending per month back in, what year was that? 2000 and what?
Started in 2013, starting fresh, brand new. So back then, it was $500 to $1,000 a month. And, I was scrounging everything together to do it and just pretty much going all in on those marketing strategies. And for me, it was direct mail at that time.
Direct mail to whom?
To homeowners, direct to homeowners. And they were mostly absentee owners at the time. So people
absentee out of town owners?
Yep.
Which you can rent a list of.
Yep.
Okay. What did you mail them?
I'd send them either a yellow letter. I experimented kind of with all the latest and greatest of the time. So either a yellow letter or kind of like a notice postcard, or a doodle postcard where it looks like some handwriting on there and some pictures and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you know where the yellow letter started?
You might know better than me.
Started in my office. We created it. We invented
it. There you go.
That was about 20 years ago.
I love it.
Still works today, man. All right. So, Dean, I know you started at the bottom. Of course, you didn't come out of the NFL broke, so we're not going to go down that path. But then again, you started with no knowledge, but you didn't throw money at the business immediately, even if you had it, did you?
No, I didn't throw money at the business because it was something that was, unproven and something that I didn't really, fully understand yet. And one of the misconceptions, just to touch on it, because I like to highlight it, just knowing kind of the journey I've gone through. A lot of the misconception, at least with me, is like, oh, well, you were in the NFL, you must have made millions of dollars. Well, yeah, I had a 7-figure contract, but let's not forget, I walked away from the 7-figure contract, not with it. So I didn't have the 7 figures to walk away and go, bootstrap, pay with my own cash. Yeah. It was truly like, hey, you're starting all over and you're now on a salary in a big city that's real expensive and things are getting real tight real fast.
So when you got into real estate, if you'd had a bunch of money and throw it at it with your knowledge, you probably would have lost it anyway.
Oh, you bet your booty.
Agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not the money that makes you good at this business, because frankly, if you had the money, you wouldn't have been forced to go learn the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
I see people, people with money scare me when they come in because they want to throw money at it. I think that's going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. Learning how to find the deals and then what to pay for the deals and how to pay for it. So in other words, like any other business, you plunder in, you're going to pay a very expensive seminar, as I did and as you did. But trust me, the value of education is a whole lot cheaper and then save you a lot of years. It took me about 2 years to get my feet on the ground, and it took me 5 more to figure out what this business was all about. And I did a whole lot of wholesalings and a lot of rehabs and retails for 20 years. And then along the way, I figured out that frankly, that's not where real money is. So you need to get to my boot camp, sir.
I know. I'm excited to question you coming up here soon and peel all that back, because I know there's some juicy information in there.
Yeah, well, there is hard lessons. In fact, I got a new book coming out called Lessons Learned.
Is it a big, thick book like this?
Book is about that thick, but it should be that thick. Yes. But no, I don't want to depress everybody. It's actually in the works. So if you had to give people a piece of advice, knowing what you know now, wishing you knew what it was back then, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So just to get perspective, where we're at now, we've got a multiple 7-figure business, our rental portfolios, right around the 8-figure mark. We've got a team of 8 people, right? That took time. And I think you said it, and I obviously resonate with it. That took you 2 years to kind of get on your feet and know where you were, and then 5 years to really figure it out. A lot of people overestimate what they're going to be able to do. So they'll just burn out and give up and don't realize that you're going to overestimate what you can do in a short period of time and underestimate what you can do in a long time. So the biggest advice I have is just from the very get-go is understand how to find deals. Because the person who has a deal, an actual deal, not go find a property. Anybody can go find the property next door to where they're at now. Yeah. If you can find a deal, then you have the power. You have options. You have opportunity in your hands. So that's the biggest thing is learn how to find deals. And my personal opinion and preference is to control your destiny through paid marketing. And at the beginning, when I first got started, didn't have a lot of money to throw at that, right? I started small and scaled it and stayed consistent. But for me, it's finding the deal. That's where the magic is.
What you just said was you'd rather pay for a lead that you're getting of somebody calling you than put out money and hope somebody calls you. I agree with you, because when I put out money hoping somebody calls me, it's going to wind up costing me what I'm paying for the leads or more that somebody else generates for me. So I got a bunch of sources to do that as well, which I share with my people. However, your total business revolves around ugly houses, correct?
Mostly, yeah.
Wait till you see what the pretty house side of the world looks like.
I know. I can't wait to quiz you.
All right. It's a totally different world, and it builds wealth because we don't just get a big check and give the government half of it. We build wealth and income and all the benefits of real estate, debt pay down, appreciation, depreciation, and all of that, which you don't get. In fact, you wholesale. How many houses would you say you wholesale?
Well, it's over 100 a year. Yeah.
For how many years?
Well, it hasn't been every year, right? I know we've done a couple handfuls over 500 now. We broke the 500 mark, so we're past 500.
How many times have you asked yourself, what if I'd have kept about half of those?
Well, shoot, the early days. The early days, I asked myself, man, if we would have kept those, the amount of equity, the cash flow, all that kind of stuff.
The last 2 years have made a lot of people very wealthy just because they own real estate. Yeah. But then again, that's flattening out now. And I know you see it changing in San Diego. Market's turning around, which I've been predicting for 2 years. I mean, it didn't take a sharp brain to figure out when inflation goes through the roof and interest rates start rising, it's going to affect the housing market, which affects everything else. And, we are in for a slowdown. How deep, I don't know. Depends on who you read. So when you buy houses, tell me you don't go to the bank and borrow money and guarantee debt.
I don't want to upset you live on this recording.
Well, let me get a tissue here. Hold on a minute.
So I wouldn't say it's your normal bank, but it is an institution. It's secondary market investor loans, right? That you leverage and borrow money, and it's in my business name, 30-year fixed debt, which is all makes me feel good and sleep good at night. But I am a guarantor on that loan.
Oh, God. Oh.
Teach me, Ron. Teach me, baby.
You better come see me, man, and stop that nonsense. Because when this thing turns around, we don't know how hard. That's the thing's going to get you right there.
Well, I got to say, I'm proud to say I'm not leveraged too high. I'm in the mid high 50s, maybe low 60s from the leverage standpoint.
Well, that's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna let you go for now, but I'm going to beat on you, tell you. There's a whole world of private money out there, Dean.
Oh, yeah.
You control the cost. And you decide how much you're going to pay them, and there are no points, and there ain't no prepayment penalties, and the term is entirely up to you and the investor, and they need you 10 times more than you need them. And then you don't have to deal with institutions, and you never personally guarantee one of those loans, ever. Mm-hmm. So it's a non-recourse loan. Anyway, that's another world, so I won't bug you on that. But so back to
we'll get together on that for sure.
All right. Okay. So you want to give something away to our audience today?
Let's do it. Yeah. So for me, at this point, I've got a coaching program, right? So if somebody wants to connect and find out more, you guys can go to deanrogers.com and you can see all my social media stuff on there on the Connect tab. But on the Shop tab, you guys can learn more about the coaching program. And there I can, jump on the phone with you, discuss what your goals are, and really see if it's a fit for you, right?
What do we need?
Something we can help you with.
What are you going to give away today? Anything?
Yeah, a free 15-minute consultation call.
All right. I believe we had to go to thementor.com/Dean, didn't we?
Is that what it was?
I think so. The Mentor Podcast /Dean.
Okay.
So then you'll know that it came through us. All right.
Okay.
I mean, we don't get anything out of it, but that's what I am told by my team to tell them. All right. So I've done my duty. Okay. If you guys want to learn how to do the other side of the business, the pretty house side, and make the real money in real estate and grow the real wealth, you go to ronlegrand.com/terms or make it /Dean. So you'll know we've come through this show, and they'll do an hour and 15-minute seminar on what I do 95% of my time in the market today, no matter where you live, even in California, for crying out loud. Okay. All right, sir. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Our listeners are going to enjoy your story and get a lot out of it. You're a good role model to follow. Didn't give up, made a huge decision. I can imagine how many people will willingly get out of the NFL, knowing how hard it is to get in the NFL. But looking back, you made the right decision because you will live now.
Exactly.
Stay off in front of trucks and buses and so forth. So that's a tough decision, and I think you made the right decision, honestly. So now you do nothing but grow wealth. What are you looking to accomplish? Where do you want to be? What's your main goal?
My main goal is to live past 100 at this point. I want to be healthy and wealthy and living, a great life with my family and my kids and their kids and want to be like available and there for all those kind of events. So that's kind of the big long-term vision. Obviously, I just want to keep doing more of what I'm doing now because I know it will continue to compound on itself and be pretty much more that I probably could have dreamt for.
So you want to grow wealthy, free up your time, somebody else to run your business, do cool things that you want to do that you couldn't do while you were working on a job. And then you want to retire filthy, stinking rich, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, that's pretty much what everybody wants, I think.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Oh, great having you, sir. Appreciate you taking the time out of day to join us. And I know our people will love this podcast.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
Take care.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.